This is Pete Moore on Halo Talks NYC. I am here with my new friend, Lauren Foundos from Long Island, like myself. And we are going to talk about her being an entrepreneur and starting up FORTE. But we're going to first start with her upbringing in Long Island, which we like to call Strong Island.
Strong Island.
And her D1 athletics at University of Maryland. And then we're going to use this as a roadmap and a blueprint for entrepreneurs who want to leave their day job at a bank, like we both had, and follow their passion. So, Lauren, welcome to the show.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me today.
Awesome. So, talk about growing up in Long Island and being into sports and fitness, and you know how that's kind of framed who you are.
Yeah, I grew up in Long Island. I have two Albanian parents, so they weren't actually that fond of me playing sports. They didn't understand why I was doing that. They thought because I couldn't go to college or I couldn't, become a professional, it didn't make any sense to do it. So despite that, I continued to play sports and loved it. And in high school, I was an All-American. And so I told my dad, I think I'm pretty good at this. He's like, it's a big country. I said, no, in the whole country, I think I'm actually pretty good at this. So yeah, my parents certainly didn't encourage playing sports. It was just something I always loved to do, and went on to play at University of Maryland. At the time, they were the best in the country, and I'm in the Final Four again, so they're always a top team. And
amazing.
Yeah, so loved playing sports. And
did you start with just field hockey, or were you?
I just played in like gym class in middle school.
Really?
Like I never went to anything extracurricular or anything. I ended up then playing in the U.S. program because I became an All-American, so they put you on, into that program. But no, I did nothing extra. Like my parents, I'm like, Dad, imagine if you actually, encourage this.
Right.
Could have been
Well,
incredible.
now I feel like growing up, you have to be like a one-sport athlete in order to excel. I played like 4 or 5 different sports at a time.
Exactly.
Did you only play varsity?
No, I played
field hockey?
I played
Oh, you played
everything. And I couldn't play anything that had, practice on Sunday because my dad likes to go to church. And so he was really cramping my, athletic career, but it all seemed to work out. So yeah, and obviously, thankfully he pushed me to work super hard in school as well and always kind of, rode that point home with us. And I'm thankful for it today. At the time, it was, super annoying, but.
Got it. So when you graduated University of Maryland, did you think about getting into what we call the Halo or fitness sector? Or did you say, look, I got to, try and become an adult? Like I had those same types of issues of saying like, all right, I got to go buy like 5 suits and get some ties and, do what other people are supposed to do. How'd that work?
Yeah, I have 2 older brothers, so I always kind of wanted to do what they do, and they both work in finance. So that was sort of a driving force for me to, continue on what they do. I didn't really know what it meant, but I was like, they do it, I want to do it. So
Gotcha.
I started interning at the bank all the way from my senior year of high school, so kind of was on track to, be working in finance from after school. And then I, found my way sort of within the different, areas of finance and really, really loved my job and thought I would never leave it, until obviously here I am today.
So what happened? What was that trigger?
Yeah.
When you say I've got to go do?
Yeah, I had no intention of leaving my job. I invested all my money in the highest risk stocks I could. I bought a 3-floor loft in Chelsea, and then I decided to quit my job. So basically,
what stocks were you like playing the internet stocks?
Going crazy with everything basically. And then I actually was looking to invest in tech. I was just trying to diversify and started to kind of get interested in this space and taking my clients on Wall Street to actually work out with me. That's how I got really into the studio game.
Gotcha. Okay.
Because I had to be at work so early I would go to the gym in the morning and, the crazy people were still up on the subway and it was still really early.
So you were a bond trader. So you were like 6 a.m. You were at your desk.
At my desk super early. Yep.
Yeah.
And so I would I would go before dinner and clients were like, where are you going? I'm like, I'm going to work out. I'm losing like my sense of self.
Right.
And they were like, well, can we come? I was like, sure, come. So then I started getting a crew together and trying to find different places. And really it was just for my own, I wanted to go work out. So I made this part of my entertaining. And that was how I got really into going to studios. And at the time, finding new studios wasn't as easy. So I do all this research and we go boxing and we go to Flywheel and all this different stuff.
Were you able to expense that?
No, I mean, I was doing it anyway.
Okay.
I think now it's more common.
Now it's like people, are expensing those and they're getting approved versus, going out and getting a steak and 3 Moscow mules,
exactly.
they're trading
I was making
in for
everybody,
a spin class.
yeah, exactly. Have a better, more refreshed the next day. So that was sort of my catalyst and got me really into studios. Before that, I was so focused and I could run by myself with no music. I never really understood studios. And then I started going to them. I'm like, this is amazing. Meanwhile, I think I'm competing against all 30 people in the room. I'm like, nobody is competing with you. But I work so much harder.
So what was your go-to class to start and what gave you the desire to say, okay, let me start Forte?
Yeah, I mean, I love to go to Tone House, which isn't necessarily.
I don't go there. You
Yeah,
kick my ass.
it's so hard. It's like I get anxiety before I go there. I'm like, why am I doing this? But I live, next to Peloton. I saw that sort of appearing, and at the time, nobody really knew what was going on in there. And I thought, wow, this is such an interesting concept. And they obviously have built an incredible brand. But I started talking to the studios that I was close with. I was like, hey, would you want to stream your classes? And this was a while ago. So some were like, no way, we don't want to share what's going on in here. And others were like, yeah, let's get started. I'm like, so they're like, when are we starting, Lauren? I was like, wait, I don't have actually any idea how to build this. I was just like spitballing this idea with you.
Okay.
I'm like,
and you were still working at Whitaker.
Yeah, I was just I was just like, it would be so cool if you could stream your classes, since you guys have this great class and a community. And they were like, all right, well, let's start. So then I'd be at work and they're like, you bought 500 million 2-year notes. I'm like, I'm in a meeting. They're like, for what? I'm like, my company. They're like, what's its name? I'm like, I don't have a name yet. And so eventually I was like, I just got to do this. If I don't do this now, like it's going to get invented and I'm going to tell people that I had that idea and tell a real sad story. So I was like, I'm doing this now.
So where does the name Forte come from and why'd you decide on that?
Yeah, Forte means strong in Albanian, or e-fort. And so I actually looked up like Greek gods of sports and it was Nike. I was like, well, that's taken. And I was like, so kind of wanted to pay tribute to my parents. And at the time I was like, listen, if I overthink this name and logo, I'm never going to build a company and the name and logo is not going to matter. So I just wrote it down and got it trademarked and incorporated the company.
That's awesome. So when did you leave Whitaker and when did you start Forte, or was there a little bit of overlap?
A little bit of overlap, but not too much. Once I was like starting to just be at work and paying attention to that, I was like, listen, and nobody's going to invest in me if I'm still working full time. And, just realizing that, it was only going to be a pet project until I really dove into it. So I left in May 2015, incorporated, and then, got the engineers that I was working with to also leave their jobs, which, is obviously a big, commitment. And then from there, it just started really snowballing.
So you seem like someone who has confidence that if you don't know something, you're going to quickly figure out how to learn it and become an expert in it.
Exactly.
Okay. So how is that learning curve and how is the process of like setting up new versions and updates? And obviously, I used to run a software company.
Yep.
So my graphic designers and my my engineers were always like, look, we can build whatever you want.
Yeah.
Like it's basically like a painting and it's going to be wet all the time. So how do you think about, okay, here was version 1, go roll out with that and not try to continue to, reinvent yourself. Like at some point it's got to be commercialized and we'll go from there. So maybe help the entrepreneurs that are listening to take the time to say, okay, this is what we need to do, and then we're going to move on to the next because I think it's important. So.
Yeah, I think it was really hard to understand that. If I felt really crippled not being able to code myself, like I couldn't just do anything. And so that was definitely, made me feel super crippled in a way that I was so determined to learn that. And they were like, it's not the best use of your time today, focus on, getting the business stuff done. And so I think that was really interesting. And just learning how engineers work is such a different animal to anything I've been exposed to. It's very orderly and they want to use all these tools to deploy things and they need it to be that specific way. And now I'm really grateful that they were so militant about continuing to use such great processes. It's been really helpful now later on. And I think just, giving them the, what we need to be built and then letting them do that and trusting them so they don't start to resent the fact if you don't give them ownership of what they're good at. So I think that was really important and a big learning curve for me because, now I have a whole different appreciation for when I go to a website and it doesn't work. I'm like, I'm going to email them and let them know this isn't working because people just assume that things are supposed to work. And now when you own a tech company and things aren't working because an update is deployed or the power went out or some random thing happens, I think, it's a whole different, I've learned a whole different appreciation for how things work that I had never understood before.
Well, I was running my software company. At one point, I just wanted to change the name of it to like F9 because I had to refresh all the time. And just like that was going to be like the name of the company because
awesome.
It just didn't work. This was back in 2000 to 2003. So we were using this platform and then everybody was on like AOL dial-up. So like the page wouldn't load because there wasn't enough bandwidth.
Exactly.
So when you started in 2015.
Yep.
So, did you have a good view of where you thought the market was going? Did you say, look, I know this is going to happen and I'm going to get in early and it might feel early, but you're in it.
Yep.
so you kind of can know where, if you live in something, then you know where it's going.
Yeah, I feel like that's sort of my superpower in that I am the super user of the market, right? I'm like, I know exactly what these people are thinking because I am that person. I'm not
You're the consumer,
analyzing the data after the fact and realizing there's been a spike in boutique fitness, in comparison to the traditional gym. So I think that feels like my superpower. I think I knew this was coming, and now the studios, that I had spoke to were like, Lauren, we got to be streaming. I'm like, no, I know. That's what I told you.
I've been telling you for 3 years.
Yeah, exactly. I've been telling them for 3 years. I'm like, no, I'm happy that you're finally on the bandwagon. So it feels great that the market has caught up to what we are doing. It was definitely, people were scared to be the first one, scared to try stuff. And it's funny, I just went to a bunch of big fitness conferences, and they have I go to tech conferences, and then they're talking about, artificial intelligence and cryptocurrency. And then I go to a fitness conference and they're like, technology, you have to adopt it slowly. And I'm like, no, this is not the...
you could get leads on the internet and you can do drip email, and you're like, hold on a second. We're like 5 chapters ahead.
Exactly. They're like, we'll lock the people in for 3 years so they can never quit and make them really mad when they try to quit. Right. So I feel like, just kind of getting, and now everyone knows they need to have a tech presence, right? I think everyone has that concept, but still getting, those kind of businesses to adopt it and stuff like that. But now it feels great that the market has caught up, right? And they're ready for it. So now we're really going to move. We spent a long time building the technology too, 2 years about we knew that we had to build something that they couldn't do on their own, that technology wasn't going to be doing on its own, and that, would make things just seamless end to end.
Gotcha. So before we talk about the product and the offering, talk about for the last 3 years, you've been an entrepreneur. You took in some outside capital, or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
So how do you kind of, gauge your own success and gauge your own progress and understand that, you're building something that's not going to, necessarily scale overnight, because you're in a market where you need to talk to someone, they need to get comfortable with it. Yep. Their instructors need to sign waivers, all
yep.
those. So how do you think about, sometimes every once in a while, I'll take a Post-it note and I'll put it on someone's desk, and I'll put the word progress on there, because
yep.
somebody might be frustrated,
yep.
but they know that they're making progress. So how do you, as an entrepreneur, have the patience, given you're a D1 athlete,
yep.
probably have zero patience.
Nope.
So how do you think about that, and how do you kind of modify your own ups and downs
yep.
based on knowing that is happening?
Yeah, I think the great thing about being an entrepreneur is the highs are so high. Like you can't, I'm like, I can't even believe I just met with the CEO. Like I can't even believe this is happening. And then the lows are also so low, yep. and you're often alone, or it falls on you, right? If it doesn't work, it's your fault essentially, right? It's not like you work at Microsoft. If one employee doesn't do a good job, Microsoft doesn't go under, right? So,
sure.
So there's a lot of pressure in that respect. But I think, really just, keeping, there's weeks that go by that nothing great is happening and they suck. And you're just
right.
like, oh my God. And then you get that email that's like, the meeting that you had is coming back and they want to work together. So I think it's just keeping in perspective, that this is going to be a long journey. And obviously I think the harder thing for me mentally, I'm okay with that. I know that it's not going to be easy. If it was easy, everyone would be doing
sure.
it. And so I'm aware of that. And I think it's keeping the team excited is hard, right? Now there's people work for me and they've quit their jobs and taken big risks too. So, trying to keep them feeling excited as well, because things always take longer than you want them to.
Sure. Yeah. My uncle used to say, when I tell him things that are going on, and I tell him the good things and the bad things, and he sent me a text one time. He said, try and keep your highs lower and your lows higher, and operating like a little more of a normal band of society.
Exactly.
And not be so crazy all the time. So give us a little insight into how you have to have a face of the company that everything's amazing all
yep.
the time, right?
Yep.
To your employees, to your customers, to yourself.
Yep.
So just to give a little insight, I started up a software company and it wasn't going the way I wanted it
yep.
to. So I used to not go to dinners sometimes because I didn't want someone to say, hey, how's your company doing? And I'd have to lie to them about
yep.
it's amazing. We're crushing it. And then I'd be like, I got to cover payroll next week and we don't have any money. And I'm hoping that a check comes in the mail. So how do you kind of manage your own, image
yep.
and also being transparent with your employees? Look, we're building something awesome. It's
yep.
not going to happen overnight, but
yep.
trust me, I know what's going on.
Yeah. I think the people that work there in the early stages have to really believe in what you're doing, because they are working for, there's maybe the salary they were getting and stuff like that. So you need to have real believers around you, or it will suck the life, I think, out of you as a founder. I think as a founder, you need to be overly optimistic. That's the, otherwise,
part of your role, I guess, right?
A normal person would be like, this is insane and I'm not going to do this. So I think as a founder, you need to be overly optimistic to be able to do this, right? And to be able to take that type of risk and swallow that type of risk and know that it may or may not work out. I guess I never look at it as a negative. I'm like, if this doesn't work out today, I know so much more than I knew 2 years ago. I used to just follow the 10-year note every day and look at the treasury auctions, and now I know about music licensing and I could build hardware and all this stuff. So I feel like if God forbid something went wrong, my breadth of skills is so much, more vast. And also just, in my past life, people never told me that I was changing their life and making their life better. And our customers email us that now, and I'm in Zendesk writing them all back like, this is amazing. And I think just, realizing there's a purpose for working that wasn't, sort of how much money did you make today, which was great. And I loved it and obviously crushed it. But I think this has been a whole new eye-opening experience for me. So I always just look at the positive things that are going on and the great relationships that I've made, and don't just worry about, what if this doesn't work out? Like I just keep a positive outlook always.
So for our listeners here, talk about how you access the platform, who's some of the clients that you have now, and maybe some of the uniqueness of the offering.
Yeah. So we basically build hardware and software that we install into a boutique fitness studio, typically 3 to 5 cameras hardwired into the walls with a server on site. Then when the instructor plugs in their phone to put Spotify on and put their mic on, the automation turns on all 5 cameras, live broadcasts the class, rotates around for that specific class, and shuts itself off. So everything streams live, and then it's immediately available on demand a few seconds later. And so we stream with this, what we call our Autobot, every day from coast to coast with no human operators. So from Miami, Boston, New York, Salt Lake City, Connecticut. So boxing, yoga, spinning, running, all these different types of workout. Initially, we thought we would just do things that were easy to do at home. And then quickly, I don't do a lot of yoga and dancing. So we started doing all this other stuff. And basically, people are still going to the gym. And so why can't they go to the gym and take, Maestro, which is this awesome running studio from Boston. And so the user is sometimes at home, sometimes at the gym, sometimes at a studio, and sometimes, running outside. And so really making a product where customers are. And the reality is most people don't have access to the hottest, coolest studios. They don't live within a gas station within 20 miles of their house. So really giving the studio to make money beyond the 30 bodies that can physically attend the class and give people access to these amazing things. And so I think, it's super exciting to the users are saying exactly what the people in the studio think. They're liking the same instructors. And I think what's really exciting about this is that, the people in the class are real. The classes are real. If you watch this every day and then, you go to Connecticut and you take the, 8 a.m. spin class, Rhodey's there teaching it. And the lady, she's awesome. The lady you like is there, and like everything is there. The fact that you could show up and touch it and really be a part of something, as opposed to kind of a traditional style workout video. And so really trying to push the envelope on what's been the norm, which is this overproduced content. I'm like, that doesn't happen when you attend a class. Why do I have to watch that from home? And so really, trying to leverage tech and get people to be a part of the experience.
Yeah, I think, I ride a Peloton every once in a while, and I've done some other things online, but there is something about doing a live class that makes you feel accountable. And also like going into an archive library just feels like I'm doing something that's not, even if it's a day old, like it's still current, obviously. The music's still the same, but I just feel like if I'm in this class, like I'm in it and I'm in it to win it. Like,
and our customers actually won't watch a class a second time now, we've found out, because they're like, why? Like that's the past. Why would I watch the same workout video over and over? I want to know that like maybe the instructor's going to make a funny joke or somebody's going to trip or something funny is going to happen. And so, which it makes so much sense. But at the time we didn't think that was going to be what they thought, but they're like, why would I watch the exact same thing again now that they don't have to? So that was, interesting to find out, because from the data, they weren't necessarily watching it live, but they were so hung up on the live because they don't want to repeat the class again.
Got it. So one other question here related to where you want to take Forte and how you kind of view, look, there's going to be other players in the space, Peloton, they've carved out their niche. There might be this mirror group that got funding. How do you kind of view what you're doing is you're making a difference. You're creating a really strong company. You've got great relationships, which are not easy to, take away when somebody, deploys hardware in a studio, like that's your hardware. So how do you think about carving out your portion of a big pie and not necessarily, try to conquer the world, but, conquer like, look, I'm doing good things for great people and I'm impacting. a lot of consumers.
Yeah, I think our bread and butter is we are a tech company, right? We don't own trainers. They don't have a studio. We don't manage talent. We don't have to have real estate, right? We just build this technology and continue to iterate it to enable them to broadcast their classes seamlessly from end to end. So I think that's our bread and butter. We also, we weren't doing sort of a white label solution or a SaaS solution just because we're a lean team and we needed to stay focused. But now, closing this round, we're going to start doing that. So empowering the big gyms to stream their own classes to their own people, just everybody that needs to be doing this, and everyone's trying to figure it out, and we have the answer. So I think, so we're excited to kind of do that as well. Coupled with, I still do really believe in the vision that sort of this marketplace of all these great studios is what people want. As much as one studio is amazing, people still want to, in a marketplace, the churn is lower because there's access to everything, right? People want Amazon, Spotify, Netflix. So I still really believe in that. At the same time, the, gyms and stuff, they want to stream it to their own people. Well, then God bless them. They could do that. We can make money on the other end there. So I think that's our niche, is really this technology that we've perfected and empowering.
How much relief do you feel that after 3.5 years of doing this, that you don't have to explain the why to customers? It's just like the when.
Yeah, it feels good.
When can I get you up and running?
Yeah, it feels good that we're the guy with people know that we're the guy that can do this now. So that feels amazing. I think just having carved that niche and knowing that we have that solution is really powerful. So yeah, not necessarily competing for the consumer. That's sort of our specialty. And so that's what we want to leverage.
That's great. So we coined this term HALO, Health, Active, Lifestyle, Outdoors. So we view you as one of our digital partners in the HALO sector. So it'll start with health clubs and boutiques and who knows where this goes going forward. So we love what you're doing. Congratulations. We're glad we finally had the time to meet.
Appreciate it.
And hope to be part of your success.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Awesome.
Bye.